We rely on a comforting psychological barrier when we watch a film. We call it the fourth wall, an invisible and impenetrable shield. It separates the safety of our living rooms from the horrors on screen. We convince ourselves the monsters and killers are safely trapped inside celluloid. But what happens when that comforting wall finally crumbles? What happens when the fiction is so dark that it bleeds into reality? Today, we are examining terrifying moments when cinema refused to remain a fantasy. These are the stories of scripts that acted as actual death warrants, props that brought curses, and documentaries capturing confessions of real monsters. We are stepping into the void where the boundary violently shatters. To understand a cursed production, we start with a comedy, not horror. Imagine a script so lethal that executives are terrified to keep a copy. This is the story of Atok, a seemingly innocent and unproduced screenplay. It is about an Inuit man trying to navigate modern New York City. In the early 1980s, the script was handed to comedy legend John Belushi. He read it, loved it, and immediately agreed to take the lead role. Months later, Belushi was found dead of a fatal drug overdose. He died in a hotel room at the age of 33. It was written off as a cliché, but the script claimed its first victim. Years later, the project was revived and offered to comedian Sam Kinison. Kinison filmed one single scene for the movie before aggressively demanding rewrites. Production halted, a legal battle ensued, and Kinison was killed in a car collision. He was 38, and the script was then passed to the beloved John Candy. Candy was reading the script and reportedly enthusiastic about the role. A few months later, he suffered a fatal heart attack at age 43. If this were a movie, the pattern would be too unbelievable to accept. Reality is crueler than fiction, and the script found its way to Chris Farley. His chaotic energy heavily mirrored Belushi. Farley practically begged for the role, eager to bring the doomed character to life. Shortly after accepting the part, Farley died of a terrible drug overdose. He also died at the exact age of 33. The grim and undeniable pattern finally terrified the studios into submission. The script for Atuk was permanently locked away and remains unfilmed today. It acts less like a screenplay and more like a modern Necronomicon. It is a stack of paper extracting a lethal toll from brave readers. Some films invite tragedy through acts of supreme and calculated disrespect. In 1982, they created Poltergeist, a terrifying masterpiece about a haunted suburban family. The iconic scene features the mother falling into a muddy excavation pit. She is suddenly surrounded by decaying skeletons, rising from the dirt. It is a masterpiece of visceral horror, but the true horror was the prop department. To save money, designers decided that creating fake rubber skeletons was too expensive. Instead, they purchased real human skeletons from a medical supply company. Williams was completely unaware as she thrashed and screamed in that freezing mud. She was tangling her limbs with actual harvested bones of the deceased. When the cast discovered the truth, a deep paranoia infected the set. And then, the curse began to manifest in reality. Shortly after release, 22-year-old Dominique Dunn was brutally strangled to death. She was killed by her abusive ex-boyfriend in her own driveway. As the sequels went into production, the body count inexplicably rose. Julian Beck died of stomach cancer, and Will Sampson died of kidney failure. But the most devastating blow was delivered to the franchise's innocent core. Child star Heather O'Rourke collapsed and died of septic shock at age 12. She died just before the release of the third film. The public and crew were left paralyzed by a very chilling conclusion. The filmmakers dug up the dead for cheap entertainment, and the dead had returned to collect their payment. When you disrespect the dead for a jump scare, the consequences are sickeningly real. Sometimes the collision of film and reality doesn't rely on the supernatural. The camera simply acts as a silent trap for a monster hiding in sight. In 2015, filmmaker Andrew Jarecki released a documentary miniseries about Robert Durst. Durst was a chillingly eccentric billionaire surrounded by a fog of death. His wife mysteriously vanished in 1982, and a friend was executed in 2000. A neighbor was found dismembered, floating in garbage bags in a Texas bay. Despite circumstantial evidence and body parts, his immense wealth kept him completely free. Jarecki spent years interviewing Durst, probing the psychopath's mind for a crack. It was the final, unscripted moment that altered criminal justice history. After a tense interview regarding handwriting evidence, Durst asked to use the restroom. The cameras stopped rolling, but Durst forgot he was wearing his wireless microphone. The crew sat in stunned silence as the audio feed picked up his whispers. "There it is, you're caught," he muttered while rambling to himself. His mind unspooled in real time, completely unaware he was being digitally recorded. Then came the phrase that froze the blood of everyone listening. "What the hell did I do? Killed them all, of course." It wasn't a movie script, and it wasn't an actor delivering a monologue. It was the authentic confession of a killer, captured by forgotten audio equipment. The audio was handed to authorities, and he was finally arrested. He was arrested the day before the grand finale was broadcast. He died in a prison hospital, entirely undone by the production he joined. We sit on our couches, secure in the belief that the horrors are fabricated. We think they are meant to thrill us and fade away in the dark. But these stories serve as a dark and undeniable warning. Cinema is not a contained vacuum. It is a powerful and volatile medium. It interacts with the real world in unpredictable, often fatal ways. It could be a stack of paper that kills the men who read it, or a set that invites a supernatural toll for desecrating the dead, or a microphone that finally corners a billionaire butcher. The camera does not merely observe reality. Sometimes it reshapes it, punishes it, and completely consumes it. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember that the credits rolling means nothing. It certainly doesn't mean the nightmare is actually over.